Thanks so much for joining us this evening. This is our Inside Earth Expedition session, and it's our fourth of four sessions that we've had about our 2026 Summer Earth Expeditions courses. So tonight we're going to cover a lot. We're going to go through our Baja, Belize, Paraguay, Brazil, and Costa Rica courses. I'm Jill Korach. I'm the Assistant Director of our field programs, and I'm so glad you're all here. If you could please start off by saying hello in the chat, share your name, the location you're calling in from. If you're a part of our programs already, share your program. And then please tell us the course or courses that you're interested in. We're also going to use the chat throughout the call tonight for any other questions that you have. We'll try to take a break after each of the courses that we cover to be sure that we can answer questions both in the chat and with voice if we get a chance to be able to do that. And I am so happy to be presenting tonight with actually four of my favorite colleagues, Katie, Jamie, Kevin, and Laura. I'll let them introduce themselves when they get to their portion of the presentation. But you have an amazing combination of our core faculty and staff here at Dragonfly on this call. So I see some folks calling in from Florida. Hi, Jessica. Glad you're here. Wonderful. New York City. Love it. So please be sure to ask questions in the chat as you'd like. So it's important to start with understanding when you join the Dragonfly community, you really are becoming part of a really, really awesome group of people. We have this shared vision where we really see a world of all people living together sustainably and really thriving with nature. We do that through really trying to build an alliance, which is you all. You're creating positive social, ecological change in your local home communities and throughout the world. The idea is we use inquiry, we use community engagement, and we try to promote authentic voice within the program. So it's really a lot that we're doing, and there are hundreds of us. So it's wonderful to have you here, and just really nice to start by acknowledging that you're part of something bigger when you're here at Dragonfly. We have unique global courses that we're going to talk about tonight. The 5 classes that are listed at the top of this slide are classes that are offered to anyone. So they are for our first year students who are joining the Global Field Program. They are also for current students who are a part of our master's programs, and you can take these classes as a one-time course. So as you can see, we have those 5 locations that we'll talk about tonight, but we also offer courses in many other global locations throughout Central South America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. You can check out our website to find more information about those. And we also have recordings on the other sessions that we've already done to cover those courses. But just as a recap, the classes are online from April to August. And then you're going on an 8 to 10 day experience in person in one of these country locations with other about 15 to 20 colleagues that you'll be traveling with. And the tuition is 5 graduate credits. That's covered for the course costs that you pay, and that's also all of your basic expenses. Some locations have additional costs, so you can check our website to be able to find more there. We also have a new offering of CEUs, which is continuing education units that you can take the class for, and you can check our website for details on that. Any of the travel that you need to incur, which is your airline, hotels, visas, etc., is all at your own expense as well. But let's get to the good stuff. So past students really have offered us some nice tips that we want to start with on this call. In any one of our course locations for Earth Expeditions, it's regularly suggested that you come in with an open-hearted attitude. Be ready to take in whatever comes and really think about the kind of positive side of that experience. Another good suggestion is really to focus on simple living and bring less stuff, fewer decisions to have to make on what you're going to wear, less baggage to have to carry from location to location. And it's really nice to try to slim down every now and then. So a lot of students use this as a chance to live a little bit more simply. We suggest that you read the course reader and really think about the course concepts prior. You know, the students that you can tell have really done their homework in advance and done some readings on the place and are really thinking about those academic concepts get a lot out of the local expert experiences that we get a chance to have in this program. Take a minute in the same way to get to know your classmates and instructors online. This is a really wonderful group of people with a lot of diverse and interesting backgrounds and experiences, so that online might not feel as exciting as the in-person portion of these courses, but it really can be a great place to spend time. We appreciate when you come in with your own personal intentions or your master plan goals in mind. What do you want to get out of this course? Really think about at the most general level, and then for you personally and professionally, but also kind of some of those specifics that you're hoping for. And in the same light, we hope you'll focus on everything that you can learn from that place and not just that you're hoping to come for one specific species. We find that those students can be easily disappointed when, in fact, coming in with a bigger kind of expectation can really help you to achieve a really neat learning experience while you're on our courses. We hope that you can, and past students have really showed, being open and flexible to being slightly uncomfortable can really open up some really wonderful learning opportunities as well. I love this picture in the center of the slide with this very smiley human who is amidst an amazing climatic monsoon in our India course. And she has taken it in. So I think that really embodies what we're talking about here, which is trying new things. And it's awesome to even have you on this call to really be thinking about participating in an experience like this. So I'm going to turn it over next to Kevin Madison, who's going to tell you about our first course location in Baja.
Thanks, Jill, and good evening, everyone. It's nice to see some names from some of our previous Inside Earth expeditions, and a bunch of new people too. I work as the associate director with Project Dragonfly. I've been here for 14 years. It's been the adventure of a lifetime to work with this program. So much fun. And the very first Earth expedition I did 14 years ago was Baja Field Methods. And that course title really doesn't fully do this course justice because you will learn field methods, but Baja is about so much more. So this picture on the top left of the slide is showing our students gathering at the Holiday Inn Express in San Diego. This is our only course that starts from the United States. It's probably the easiest to get to in many cases as a starting point for a course. And then we drive down the peninsula of Baja. And as we go down, that top right image is folks exploring the desert. Desert ecosystems are so unique. They have this sort of barrenness, you could say, but they also come alive at night. And there's so much diversity there that's hidden. There's so many unique plant adaptations. So the desert is one of the highlights of this course, just getting to see it and be a part of it. And then getting to the marine side, to the Vermilion Sea, the Gulf of California, the Sea of Cortez. It's gone by many different names, this body of water, but it's an incredible place and marine laboratory, natural laboratory of so many unique things, from seabirds to whale sharks to whales, to dolphins. So many things that are possibilities to see on this course. We could go to the next slide. So, Baja is just looking at these images. It has a pull on my heart, because you really are so close with nature in this course. You sleep on those cots in that top left image, under the stars, and it is magnificent. Um, so we do that in two locations, at a family desert ranch, and then at the Vermilion Sea Institute in Bahia de los Angeles, right on the Sea of Cortez, or the Vermilion Sea, as I mentioned. So you'll have your sleeping bag. You may or may not need it, but you do need to bring it because it can get chilly at night, as it is desert ecosystem, and it can get very hot during the day. So being prepared is important. Um, Lots of field methods like these transects. You see our students coming out wearing their wetsuits, and so those are helpful for buoyancy and sun protection and a little bit of thermal regulation when you're in the water. And we're doing inquiries in the ocean, in the sea there. The food is incredible on this course, like every course, right? So there's lots of vegetarian options, fruits and vegetables, very healthy eating. I definitely eat better on this course than I do at home, for sure. And lots of silliness. There is a vibe to this course. I think anyone that's been on Baja knows there is a vibe to Baja. So just be ready for that. It's a lot of fun, and the group is what makes it so special. We can go to the next. Yep. So just these moments, right? The community is what makes all of these courses so special. I would say for people that are interested in desert and marine ecosystems that want to do snorkeling, that want a chance to see bioluminescence and all these other magnificent things, potentially whale sharks. We can't guarantee anything. This course is a really special one. And they have a wonderful connection now with a group of children in the Bay of Los Angeles, like I said, where we are based, that is an incredible part of this course. There's microplastic and coastal monitoring that goes on. And I have pictures also of our van adventures because being in the van and driving, it's like you're on a road trip with a group of people, and within an hour or so, you're all really close and enjoying stories and having a great time. Um, so just sharing that as well. We could go to the next. Yeah. So, yeah, it's coastal, desert, and arid. So bring your sunscreen, your hat, some layers, and some things for, again, for sun protection. Um, it can also get very, very warm. So just making sure you're going to hydrate, and we'll be reminding folks about that, of course. 1 to 2 hikes that are about 3 miles or so, moderate slope, um, kind of going at the pace of the group, with some people maybe going a little bit ahead, but others behind, and staying with people that need more time. And I already mentioned the sleeping conditions, unbelievable. Um, there are toilets, yes, and showers, but I will say in some of the locations, because it is arid and it's desert, we use sort of a small bucket and pour, and it can be very refreshing and is a good experience for environmental stewardship. Yeah, you can read all the delicious foods you're going to have there. Veggie friendly for sure, and driving and some boat time as well, for sure, for several days when we're at the Vermilion Sea. All right. So yeah, that's an overview of Baja. Incredible course, like all of them. And I will put my email in the chat in case people have more questions about Baja.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. I'll pause here in case there are any questions that people want to either type into the chat or go ahead and voice. It is such an incredible class. It's a great, the art on the walls there of the field station all the way through to all those smiling faces. Great summary. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, well, we will move on.
We
And if
have
other
one
questions.
question,
Oh,
Jill.
thanks. Oh, go ahead, please. Blanca.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we do hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here with you all. I just have one question because this seems really interesting. I know that this course is a field methods course. I'm hoping that you can talk a little bit more about the course itself. Like, what kind of field methods will we be learning? What is like the overall takeaway from the course?
Yeah, it's in terms of the field methods, there's some desert transects that we run typically. We talk about the difference between quadrats and transects, why you would use them, different sample size for different organisms and things like that. So spatial sampling. So there is discussions of that, quite a bit actually. And in groups, you would do 2 inquiries that are created on your own, just like we do in most of the Earth Expeditions courses. There also tends to be some statistics discussions and sometimes discussions of fish identification, because Megan McDonald, our partner down there, has some good experience with that. But this course, those things are really important, but there's a whole lot more going on here, with people kind of finding their inspiration in life and being motivated to make change and being inspired, like I said, by those kids and those community actions that are happening. So I don't want you to think that it's going to be hard and fast on those methods the whole time. They are a big part of it, but there's so much more going on.
And Kevin, Lloyd asked in the chat, and I was just answering, but can you talk just a little bit about snorkeling? How many times we snorkel and what those experiences are like?
Yeah, typically at least 3 days. And it depends on the course. I think sometimes we've done a little bit more. But I will say for anyone that is not sure about their snorkeling ability, this is a great course because the team there is so good at teaching people that have like even been uncomfortable putting their face in the water, all the way up to people that are scuba certified and have this enormous experience, and they will learn something too. So this group, because they're based, the Vermilion Sea Institute is based right there. They deal with people with all different levels, and it's really cool. Like I've learned so much there about confidence and ability in myself, and I've seen other people like their whole approach be changed in terms of how they swim, how they snorkel, how they deal with open water. So um, yeah, it's really amazing.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, we're going to move on to our next amazing location, which is Belize, and Jamie's going to present for us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Burka in Zano, and I've been with Project Dragonfly for since the mid 1990s, about 28 years. It's really a part of who I am in my soul. And it's just such a wonderful, engaging, and thoughtful, action-oriented program. Um, so yeah, I think the first Earth Expeditions course I taught was Trinidad back in 2004. We no longer have Trinidad, unfortunately, but we have 16 other course or 16 total course locations that are just as awesome. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens in Belize, right? We arrive at the airport and are picked up by a bus or a van. And on the way to the Belize Zoo and Tropical Education Center, which is our in-country partner, you may see a tapir crossing sign. And we'll learn lots about tapirs, lots of Belizean animals, and including a manatee. We try to go manatee spotting, and as Kevin said, with whale sharks in Baja, it's not always guaranteed that we'll see manatee, but we do go manatee spotting, and so that's another animal that is a really cool Belizean possible sighting. So we have terrestrial experiences with the Belize Zoo and Tropical Education Center, and we have a few marine experiences. And the picture in the center is actually taken out on Tobacco Key, which is where we go snorkeling for about 2.5 days toward the latter part of the class. You can advance now, Jill. So when we're at the Tropical Education Center, in the upper left-hand corner, there are sort of like the housing is kind of like cabanas, two per cabana. But you're sleeping in the forest and the rainforest, and it's a really, really cool experience. The middle picture is where we eat, the cafeteria. The food is phenomenal. Um, and the picture on the upper right-hand corner is our classroom. And we spend a fair amount of time in in the classroom, learning from our in-country partners, and Celso, who is our partner that we're with a lot of the time. He is the scientist who has done a lot of tapir research. So we'll hear a lot from him and a lot from Jamal, the Manatee Man, and the other Jamal works at the Belize Zoo. So let's see, in the lower left-hand corner, that's one of the Jamals, and we're touring the Belize Zoo, checking out some scarlet macaws there, and spider monkeys. And again, I unfortunately put the same picture of the manatee snout there, but and if you could advance to the next one, Jill. A few days in, we visit some Mayan ruins, which are sort of spiritual and really cool to be a part of and be visiting, called Altun Ha, and that's what's in the upper left-hand corner there. And then we move to Tobacco Key, where we snorkel and do some inquiries in the water. see some incredible fish, brilliantly colored fish. And in the lower left-hand corner, that's Peter, who is another of our in-country partners. And similar to Baja, we you get we work with folks who are scuba certified, as Kevin said, and who have never swum before. So Belize is another one, really good one for learning how to snorkel or experiencing it differently for the first time if you've not been there. The picture in the center is our classroom slash cafeteria eating location on Tobacco Key. And after the Tobacco Key experience, we take a little cave hike and explore some petroglyphs and rock formations. And it's really interesting. What he's doing in that picture is showing us some tracking of a jaguar that they were doing. Okay, you can move to the next slide. It's really hot and humid, and there are lots and lots of mosquitoes. But like Jill said in the beginning, if you are ready for it, if you're prepared for it, it can be really cool, really, really cool, even though you're really hot and humid. But if you're ready for the mosquitoes, you can keep them at bay. The activity level is moderate. We have some walking and some hiking. There's a small amount of climbing when we're going to the caves, but there are ropes to stabilize yourself. It's very safe. The lodging and bathrooms, again, 2 per cabin at the Tropical Education Center, which for short is called the TEC. You'll hear TEC a lot. And 3 to 4 people per room on Tobacco Key with shared bathrooms and showers. But there are bathrooms and showers. The food is a fusion of Latin American and Caribbean cuisine, slow cooked stews, pork, rice and beans. Fried jacks are a really, really important component for lots of people. Lots of people fall in love with the fried jacks. And of course, accommodations for allergies and gluten-free folks. And transportation is by bus and by boat, bus or van and boat. And you can see a few pictures of food there at the bottom. And there, on the far lower right-hand corner, there's a picture of us going to Tobacco Key. It's a little tiny key. You could walk around the whole island in about, I don't know, 45 minutes, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. But it's just an incredible experience. We have been going to Belize for many years, and our in-country partners here and everywhere are fabulous. So that's about it for Belize.
Great. Any other questions? There was a discussion about that we snorkel, not scuba, during Earth Expeditions courses, but you certainly can travel before or after the course. We typically suggest after the course so that any unplanned mishaps can happen afterward and you'll have time to be able to resolve them and not miss your graduate course. But yes, that's definitely an option, and something that many people go to Belize for is certainly the barrier islands off the coast are a beautiful part of the country. Can you tell us more about the focus of the program? Rin asked Jamie. So maybe more about kind of the learning components or the themes.
Sure. Our tagline is kind of like it's 3 words: inquiry, community, and voice. And interestingly, we were meeting about the heart and soul of our program this morning. And so inquiry, we do a lot of inquiry in all of our classes, at least once and a lot of times twice. And what we mean by inquiry is much more than just the scientific method. It involves a social component in each piece of the scientific method, and community. It really is about community and engaging with folks however you define community, whether it's your homeowners association, your school, um, your place of work, but engaging with community is really an important part of what we do. And voice, your own and others. We really like to have experiences that allow you to voice uh, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and also encouraging that same idea in other people. So inquiry, community, and voice are the three sort of really core words and tenets or pillars that we live by.
Thanks, Jamie. And also that idea of, for this class in particular, we're kind of thinking about that through the lens of environmental stewardship. So we're able to show the themes that Jamie was just talking about. We're able to show community through the fact that we visit the community baboon sanctuary and we see kind of that community-driven conservation happening firsthand. We have opportunities for hands-on activities, like Jamie mentioned about the manatees. We can sort of see how do species fit into that context at the zoo of really trying to promote people having an environmental ethic within Belize for Belizean citizens, but also for outsiders who tend to travel to Belize as well. So I think it's a great class, as Jamie shared, to be able to really look at that lens of what does environmental stewardship mean. So hopefully, Rin, that helps. Great. And she said, thanks. So very good.
Thanks.
Excellent. We're going to move on to our next of three here. This is our Paraguay class, and Katie Island is going to present on this one.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for spending some time with us. I'm Katie Filan. I'm an instructor and advisor, and I guess I'm also the director of these two amazing programs. And so, how many of you have heard about Paraguay or have visited Paraguay? And there's a couple of people in this call. However, this is a very, very special place that a lot of people don't know about, don't understand, and will never visit. And that makes it a really unique experience because you're not a tourist, they don't have tourists. And I like to say that Paraguay, well, I don't just say it, everyone says that Paraguay is the heart of South America. It's right in the center. And we are fortunate to partner with Para la Tierra through this course that's focused on eco-leadership. And one of the things that I think is great to mention is because so many of our partners have been doing this for a very long time, and you come in and it looks really easy. And then you're like, oh, how do people do this? This course, they've been working on these issues for about 10 years, and they're still in some of the tough stuff, and they show how you can do it. And it's just a really amazing experience. So for those of you that don't know about Paraguay, Jill, do you want to pass the slide? It is a very interesting place when we think about the environment. There's 6 different ecotones. During the course, we visit a couple of them. We spend some time in the Bosque Atlántico Alto Pagonal. I apologize that that word comes out in Spanish for me, but the section of the Atlantic forest, and we are seeing howler monkeys and capuchins in those areas. One year we saw puma tracks. We're seeing some really ancient trees and living in this really amazing experience. We also go to the city of Pilar, which is the bird capital, and spend some time in the wetlands and just see an amazing diversity of all sorts of birds. In this picture, and this is one of our partners who has permits to handle this animal, is the tuco, which is endemic to about a 2-kilometer area, and we are able to see this unique little critter. It's a rodent. Jill, do you want to pass it on? So like many of our Earth expeditions, people choose the course oftentimes for the animals and plants that they get to see. And the thing that really changes the course for them is connecting with the people. And the Paraguayan people are some of the most wonderful people in the world. They're a culture that is very proud of who they are. We are able to experience some of their cultural dances, interact with their food. We visit an indigenous community and learn about some of their experiences. We connect with communities in both the city and in the rural areas and visit schools in both of those areas. Our partners have a great program called Voices of Nature, where they connect and celebrate the biodiversity of Paraguay with the children of Paraguay, and you get to be part of all those different experiences. Jill, next slide. And so what are the things that you do? Well, you're seeing both the eco leaders that are there and then develop your own eco leadership skills. And so there's opportunities to coordinate different activities. We have a lot of different service learning activities. So we now have a wall of murals that our Earth Expedition students have painted. Para la Tierra also holds one of the only museums of natural history there. And so you can learn about the museum techniques of documenting some of these species and celebrating that diversity. And then also learning some of the field techniques used to monitor some of these amazing animals. And so what are the different aspects of the course? When we talk about packing lists and people say, what do I need to bring? I just say yes. So we go from pretty chilly nights and sometimes even days. So in that first picture, you see everyone's wearing their polar fleeces and their downs, and everyone said, I had my knit hat in my bag and I pulled it out. And why did I do that? So keep that knit hat in there. And then it can also, in the same trip, go up to 90. So you see another picture, people are wearing shorts. Can it rain? Yes, it can. And so that red clay soil will get all over your clothes. So be prepared for everything. This course, it was funny, we traveled to 2 different parts of the country, and the weather changed. And so they thought that it was just the warmer part of the country. I was like, no, we just happened to hit a weather front as we traveled 5 hours on the bus. Activity level moderate, we do some hiking, we walk around town, so half the course is actually in a city, which is an interesting experience. Lodging, we have 2 different lodging spaces. So in this picture that looks like a classroom, that's our everything room at San Rafael. And so we have lectures there. We then all work together and we set up tables, and it's our workspace and our dining space. And then we put the tables away and we pull out mattresses and we all sleep in that big room. We do have flush toilets and we do have showers there as well. And then the second half, when we're in town, we're staying at Para la Tierra's main place, which is also a hostel. And so you're sharing bedrooms with bunk beds completely inside. Again, flush toilets and running water. Paraguay is known for their meat culture, so there's a lot of meat. However, I have lived in this country for 2 years as a vegetarian, so we do have veggie options as well and dietary restrictions. So many delicious things made out of mandioca, which is a main staple. It's a root. Some of you might know it as cassava or yuca. Empanadas, some of the best empanadas. And then to confuse you Spanish speakers, they have sopa paraguaya, which is a cornbread and not a soup. And then tereré and mate are 2 of the very traditional drinks there. And then you're part of that culture and sharing in that. And then we have we traverse half of the country, and so we have an 8-hour bus ride on the first day, and then we go across to the other side for a 5-hour bus ride and 1 leisurely boat ride. But other than that, no snorkeling on this trip. We do have some rivers, but it could be a little cold for that. So happy to answer any questions, but just a really great experience. And this is one of those courses that I wish more people knew about and would join us.
Excellent. What a unique chance to get to see a place that not very many people have been as outsiders to Paraguay. So any questions anybody has, you can feel free to type in the chat or voice. I'm definitely keep giving a look to that delicious basket of goodies there on the right-hand side, I have to say. In addition to all the neat natural elements that you get a chance to participate in. Excellent. Well, we'll move ahead, and if other questions come up, please feel free to post them in the chat. Thank you, Katie. Our next course I'll present for us, which is our Brazil class, and the title is Saving Golden Lion Tamarins, which I did not put on this first slide because actually, like many of our presentations have talked about tonight, a lot of the experience here ends up really being wrapped around the community and the hands-on activities that you get to participate in. So this smiling student is planting a tree and sending some good vibes down into the earth on a hillside that is being reforested in a place where actually reforestation can be very successful very quickly. And we get a chance to really see some of those successful inspirational stories as a part of this course. So planting trees is one of the activities that you participate in Brazil. The Brazil class has such a rich history for us at Dragonfly. And so this picture in the upper left-hand corner is many years' work of many people putting in effort from multiple organizations globally to create an overpass. As you can see, those are 18-wheelers that are going under that bridge, and it is basically a planted forest that continues to grow taller so that the golden lion tamarins can pass. So you can see here, AMLD is our partner in Brazil, and they are really thinking about what does it take to save golden lion tamarins and realizing that that's not just the species itself. It involves a lot of the habitat and the community members that live within the region of where these cute little GLTs are. So you can see we're observing one in the right-hand picture on this slide. You can also see we're all wearing masks because we're trying to keep those primates safe and healthy, just like ourselves. And we have this really unique opportunity to be able to see these animals typically in the wild, typically more than once on the course. You know, we don't give 100% guarantees for anything in global travel, but very, very high likelihood that you'll get a chance to be observing these animals for periods of time during the course. You can see in the lower left-hand corner, that's Katie Filan, our director, doing some plant work as a part of the course. So we really contribute to whatever is going on at the time for AMLD. We have done everything from planting trees like we showed. We've collected epiphytes from the forest to be able to propagate those plants to then put them back into the forest because we can't just plant trees, right? We have to think about all those layers of the forest and what's required for those cute little GLTs to have what they need in the forest. So you can see in the middle picture here is a number of local farmers as well as some of the AMLD staff who have just tirelessly been putting their hearts into thinking about what type of agroforestry plots are necessary that can help sustain the farmers of the region and still, again, always be thinking about the little micos there, the monkeys, the tamarins. So you can see on the sign, people really work with pride around these animals. They want to showcase that sign in front of their farm to be able to say that they're one of the many agroforestry plots that AMLD is helping to promote. So they have such an extensive array of opportunities for us to participate in that each year this class is a little bit different. But just showing you a few of those activities, you know, each day we're going out into the field in different ways. So sometimes we're going out into the field to visit with the farmers that are on this slide. Other times we're going out for plantings or other restoration work that's required. And other days we're just having a whole lot of fun doing investigations, watching the GLTs. So these students are just doing an open observation period at this point, and later on in the course, they'll have opportunities to ask their own questions and be able to go out and actually collect a data set to present back to the rest of the class. So I found this class to be such an amazing opportunity to hear from local experts in particular. And in that picture on the right-hand side in the blue shirt is Andrea, who is like the monkey expert for the golden lion tamarins. She knows them all. She's speaks their language. She is that type of scientific researcher that you always want to be, and she's incredibly inspiring during the course. So we get to go in the field with her and just watch her interact and observe the animals and what types of behaviors she's seeing. And it helps us to really gain some of those skills as well. So some students create projects around ethograms, looking at the behavior of the animals. Other people are looking at the plants in the area, if you can believe it, even with those cute gold-lined tamarins. I had a few students focusing on like the hidey holes of where are they within the forest itself. So there's a lot of really interesting questions that you can ask. And I am not a primatologist. I'm a plant person from my background, or a people person. So I really found that this was this amazing opportunity to get to sort of be immersed with a group that not only is primatologists, but also is really thinking about the complexities and the holistic approach that's necessary for this type of species. The food. I know we keep talking about the food, but wow, the food is incredible. For several nights of the course, we actually stay on site at the AMLD headquarters, which is an old, it's a home. Actually, it was a resort style home that someone sold to AMLD. So it has the opportunity for us to stay in some dorms. A few people actually get to tent camp. I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of that one right now, but in the second half of the class, we actually moved to a family farm. And you can see on the right-hand side, it's this incredibly long farm to table kind of experience. And it feels like you're going to visit your family in another country that you never knew you had. It's really an awesome chance to be in the local community. So as you can see on the right, we're using that table. We'll use it for meals, but then we'll switch like Katie shared, and then we'll be using it for a class discussion. Local community members will be coming in and out and sometimes participate with us. Aitan is an incredible chef. He's an incredible environmentalist, simple living expert. He moved out to run this farm as a chance to be able to sort of see what life could be like by having kind of this more simple living approach. So we really reap the benefits in our stomachs because the food is really unbelievable. Lots of options for people. In the bottom left, we're going and seeing some of the saplings that they're going to be moving out into some of the planting sites. And in the center here, this person is doing some pressing of apples and other species that they use, other plants for being able to extract different products. So we have a good chance to be able to participate in a number of different activities during this course. The climate is really moderate in Brazil, actually. So you have cooler mornings, you have warm days, it's less humid. So this would be a class that if the high humidity is concerning you, even though I think all of our classes are manageable for most people, this would be one that would have a more moderate climate. I say the same thing for the activity level. We are walking on site each day. We're doing some hiking. Sometimes we're even riding bikes, as you can see here when we think about transportation. In the bottom left, we're actually going with a youth group who does eco tours. In one of our past years, in the bottom left, we're hopping in the back of this really neat old Toyota style truck that has bench seats. And other times we're just traveling in a more typical bus or minibus. So sometimes that alternative transport is there. But back to lodging and bathrooms, you can see here, this is the Corderos Farm building, described sometimes as like the Encanto house. It's this incredible space with just all these different little rooms for us to stay in. And then we're eating around that big table that I showed you earlier. So I won't talk about the food anymore because I feel like I've already given it a lot of airtime. One important note for this class is that you do need to have the yellow fever vaccine. So I've had a few questions on this on the side. We can't give medical advice to people through this program, but our partners require this yellow fever vaccine. So, and that is really to keep the primates safe after having some yellow fever outbreaks in the past. So you can see in the upper right, that's two of our incredible partners, and they are wearing their masks, even just standing on the side having a conversation on our GLT day because it's that important to this project. I hope that helps you have an overview of the Brazil class, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, Blanca, good question. You don't have to ride a bike. I had several people on this course who weren't sure how to ride a bike yet and didn't want to learn in Brazil, and that was fine. And they either walked alongside us on the road or we had an option to be able to take the bus to the next location that we were going to. Jennifer asked how much long distance bus van travel would be involved for this location. It's not quite as long as some of our other locations. Let's see, it's about 2.5 hours to get out to AMLD from Rio, which is where we fly into. And then I think the longest day would be to get to a primate center that we visit. And I want to say that that's about maybe 5 hours at the most on that day. And that's because we're sort of stopping along the way and doing other things. So this isn't a class where our locations are very far away from one another. And now that we stay on site at AMLD for a lot of the class, we actually have a number of days where we won't have to really be able to get in the bus much at all. So that's kind of a nice change from some of our other courses that have some longer drive times. And then where do we meet up with the class after lunch arriving at the airport? So some of those specifics will give you as you kind of get placed in this course. But typically for this class, because it takes a while to fly from the US, which is where most people are flying from the US through, oh, no worries, flying through Central America, kind of getting down to Rio. Typically, you do all that the day before and you're spending the night in a hotel, and then we're meeting that next morning on the first day. So that's usually where and then we're typically meeting at the hotel. And then on our way back into Rio, we are dropping off at a hotel again for people to be able to spend the night, or we can bring you straight to the airport depending on what your flight plans require. Excellent. Thank you. If you have other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And I'm going to turn it over next to Laura Avendano Franco, who's going to tell us about the Costa Rica course.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar names here in the call. It's interesting. I had the flip side of Jill, right? So I'm going to be talking about Costa Rica, and I purposely put like the animals here in this first slide because kind of like reiterating what several of my colleagues have already said here. People initially come to these courses for the animals, but I hope we can convince you that uh, the more transformative experiences are always in regards to the people and the partners and the communities that we get to engage. So I'll talk a little bit about Costa Rica. The focus of this course is ecology and ecotourism. So this snapshot here gives you a little bit of kind of like that overview, right? We learn about sea turtle ecology, understanding kind of like their life histories, also about some emblematic species in Costa Rica, like the frog here, and then the capuchin monkeys that we, as some of us have mentioned, sometimes we get the chance of observing. And then here I just love this image on the top right because this is, like first day, people are super excited to go dive deep into this place that they've never been into and just like really trusting us on no matter where we go, it's going to be amazing, right? So this is kind of like my introduction to Costa Rica a little bit. Jill, if you don't mind switching to the next slide. So as I mentioned, one of the key aspects that we learn here is kind of like how to get people involved in tropical ecology and ecotourism. So we partner with Ecology Project International, and one of their strengths in Costa Rica is working with sea turtle conservation. So here on the first image on the top left, we can see kind of like this release of these leatherback sea turtles that they've kind of like collected the eggs, and they've really developed kind of like this unique, I don't want to say this unique method, but this amazing strategy on how to increase the survival of these hatchlings, right? And then release them out into the ocean once they're ready after they have taken measurements. Here on the picture on the middle, we see some of the research assistants from Ecology Project International taking all these measurements, right? And collecting all this data that is fundamental for and understanding these ecological aspects and life histories of these sea turtles. But part of it is also learning directly from our partners of not just what goes into, taking measurements of these sea turtles, but how they work with the whole community, right? To kind of like ensure the survival and the protection of these species. So here on the kind of like in the middle left, we have kind of like our the place where we stay on the first half, we are hosted by these wonderful people that are providing us with food, with care. We also work alongside with the research assistants here at the place that are working directly with the Sea Turtle Conservation Project, but also we get a chance to learn a little bit about some of the camera trap projects that we have with terrestrial vertebrates, as well as some of the primate projects that they have at the site. In the Pequade Reserve, where we stay on the first half, it's this amazing place because, like you are doing an inquiry looking at spider monkeys, like these two people on the left, which I believe we have one of them in the call today. They're just observing primates and then they finish their inquiry and then we go out to release sea turtles and learn about kind of like this whole process. So it's this very unique opportunity, like that image that we have on the bottom, where you have this, like the ocean right next to the jungle. And it's just beautiful, for anyone interested in tropical biodiversity. Is just this unique place. But not only that, the image that we have kind of like in the middle to the right, we get the opportunity to go and learn directly. So most of the time, like after these long days, we get this delicious food, but then we get this one day where we get to be our own hosts. And I think that's a really unique opportunity because we're used to, like appreciating and tasting and all the amazing flavors that we get to enjoy in these EEs. But in this opportunity, we get to be a part of that. And we're learning directly from a family that part of kind of like what they do is that they host tourists right in their place, and then we get to do lunch ourselves and then learn a little bit about this cooking traditions, the local culture, and so on. So that's kind of like the first half of the course. Towards the second half, we travel. It's about a 4 to 5 bus ride, which in my experience, that's the EE that I just came back with. Like it happens in many of our EEs, flexibility is key, and there can be a roadblock that turns a 4-hour drive into a 6-hour drive, right? So learning to adapt to those, that's kind of like one of the things that happen. And then we get to this iconic place that it's La Selva. A lot of what we know today about tropical biodiversity is grounded on the research that has been done at this unique place. Many of you have seen images. Oh, no, go back of the stone bridge, right on the top right, where you are literally going into this amazing place, this extremely biodiverse place, where a lot of researchers have conducted their work there. We get to do night hikes, do a lot of inquiries at this place as well. We also learn on that image on the bottom right, that is kind of like towards the end of the course, where we also get to learn about people whose livelihoods depend on tourism, right? And kind of like teaching others about the whole process of sustainable chocolate, right? So here we have one of our, I'm blanking on the name, not student leader.
Community learning leader.
Community learning leader, CLL. Thank you, Jim, right there. And with 2 of our students kind of like enjoying the whole process of learning, this whole process of sustainable chocolate and how it helps some of the families, or how it is the livelihood of the families in the area. So in the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about kind of like the logistics of the place. It is hot, it is humid, it is rainy. We're going kind of like towards the rainy season, so it's very variable. I put these 2 images on the right because, in the same day, similar to what Katie was mentioning, we're out there, learning how to measure turtles in the case that we see them, right? We're some of us in our Crocs, our flip-flops, our shorts, and then a couple hours later, we're doing inquiries in the middle of the forest and there's a downpour, so you need your rain jacket. So what do you need to take? Yes, right? Maybe not a beanie in this situation, right? But definitely rain jacket, always have your poncho, and so on. The activity level is I put moderate to high because there's some long hikes, but there's some flexibility and some options for people that need accommodations and cannot do these long hikes. We do have kind of some options to shorten some of the long hikes and make it more accessible. There's day and night hikes. We do have shared dorms. So how, for example, here on the image on the bottom left, this is the first day. We are taking all of our luggage, right? Going into the boat, right? Going into the forest. So making sure that when you pack light and something that you can carry yourself. For this course, we strongly encourage people to use kind of like a backpack, because for getting into the Pacuare Reserve, you do need to hike in kind of like half a mile in the forest, right? There's no paved path or anything like that. So yes, you can take how you call those, a roller luggage, right? But it's gonna get messy. It's gonna get dirty. The wheels might not be the best, so definitely something you can carry yourself for at least half a mile, right? There's shared rooms, right? So these range. There's a little bit more people in these compared to the other ones. Sometimes 8 to 10 students in one dorm. I think that varies depending on the kind of like the composition of our group, right? There's common bathrooms, right, that are outside of these rooms usually. That's on the first half of the course on the Pacuare Reserve, right? Then when we get to La Selva, it's smaller rooms, and then there's a bathroom within the room, right? So just so you keep that in mind. The food is kind of like this fusion of Latin American and Caribbean cuisine. So similar to all of the other sites, is just really good food that people are making with lots of care and love. And they, at the end of the day, you're just like, oh my God, thank you so much. This is amazing, right? There's a lot of veggie options. So like similar to other places, tends to be very buffet style. So you take what you need as well. And yeah, I just love this image on the right because I think it shows a little bit of how we need to be prepared for everything. That was one of the days where we had a downpour, people were using Crocs, but also one of the things, and our partners provide us also with rubber boots. This is a place where there's a lot of snakes. So hiking boots are great, but really for your own safety is always better just to have these rubber boots. If you are someone that has some issues and really care about the type of footwear that you want to use, I recommend taking your own rubber boots, right? Something that you feel comfortable with, but keep in mind that our partners have rubber boots there to provide for us. So it's not like you have to take them again, unless you have kind of like some special needs in terms of your footwear. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you. Great. Some people talking about the course dates, the rain, the cacao. So it sounds like you hit a lot of really wonderful elements, Laura. Thank you. Any other questions for anyone about Costa Rica or any of our locations as we kind of wrap up the call here?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Laura. It's really good to be on the call with you. I'm actually in your CSC
Yes.
class. I knew the day would be clear. Good to see you. So as I mentioned, I actually had the pleasure. I actually treated myself to a trip to Pacuare Reserve last year as a graduation gift. So I actually am familiar with it, but I had to leave my trip a little early for other reasons, and I would love the opportunity to go back and kind of get the full experience, especially because when I went during their off season, so there wasn't really anyone there on the field station, so it'd be really great to experience it with other people. When I went, I left before I had a chance to do anything hands-on with the turtles. Is this something that you think is built into the curriculum? I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, so thank you. I mean, first of all, what an amazing gift to yourself. I'm sad that you had to cut it short, right? But yes, this is an opportunity where we get to learn firsthand from some of these researchers assistants that have been there for a while, are working with the sea turtle conservation program, so we get to learn firsthand from them. And then also we have Claudio, who is our amazing partner, who comes with us, along with us throughout the whole trip, and he's just like this amazing human with so much knowledge about sea turtle conservation, tropical ecology, and all the social and ecological dynamics that are happening in Costa Rica. So I talked a little bit about the tourism aspect of it, right? So he really provides these very unique perspectives that sometimes as outsiders, we just associate Costa Rica, ecotourism, that's great. And then he kind of like is able to break it down into kind of like the different issues around that, which is kind of like one of the main core themes of the course. So to answer your question, yes, there is that opportunity to work with the sea turtle conservation program and learn from them directly. And yeah,
Fun. Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks so much. I'm going to finish with just our last slide here as a couple reminders for you all. If you're a current student in our program, your request form was emailed to you. It's a separate form because you're a current student, and that's due on October 25th. If you're a new student or an alumni of our program, or you're planning to take this as a one-time course, those applications are due January 15th. Please check out our website for that. And we're so happy that you were here this evening. We're happy to stay on for any additional questions, but thank you so much for joining our session. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye.